All right, everyone. We start off today talking about Mamdani specifically, but also the general juxtaposition between the uniparty left, so the neoliberals basically, and the far, far left, the commie version of the Democratic Party with Mamdani, with AOC, Bernie Sanders, people like that that are very, very far to the left. Some of which have actually moved further to the left over time, specifically because they're in safe blue areas. There's no impetus for them to moderate what they say, what particular ideology they happen to follow. There's no need for it. Bernie Sanders will get reelected until he's in the grave because he's Bernie Sanders, and Vermont happens to be solidly blue. So they're going to keep voting. And Vermonters also have the tendency to vote for the incumbent anyway once they're elected. We have that stubborn tendency up here, by the way. And so they'll keep voting for him ad nauseum. This is becoming a real big fucking problem for the Democratic Party. On the local level, works perfectly. You've got an area that is relatively blue. So you pick off somebody who's mildly blue and you replace them with someone who's far blue, somebody who is extremely communistic or something like a Mamdani, specifically in that particular case. But these people then weigh around the neck of the Democratic Party at the federal level like millstones. They are nothing more than dead weight. The sacrifice that the Democratic Party has made in bringing the broader far left into the fold and getting them to vote for them, number one, is not working anymore. We'll explain that in a moment. Number two, though, it hampers them in federal elections. So the fact that you're whining and dining and making excuses for and covering for people who are psychotic, those people are fully capable of getting elected within their congressional districts. They're fully capable of getting elected within certain states, again, like Vermont, California, places like that, because you have such a supermajority. But it does not translate into a federal platform. And that's become their problem. The Republicans used to have this problem. The GOP had this problem yesteryear with like the Tea Party movement, right? You get a bunch of people, a huge tidal wave of Republicans, mainly younger than the average for Congress at least, more evangelical, more moralistic, much more to the right on economic issues. By the way, they flooded right in. And the GOP had a problem. How do we counterbalance some of the things that these people in deep red zones are saying and doing? How do we translate that to a federal platform? What are we supposed to do? Because the average person in swing state Pennsylvania or maybe Michigan or something does not believe in the same things that these people do. And while the Tea Party was largely successful, and some of those members are still in Congress now, by the way, or in other political positions, many of them did quite well, it didn't translate to a federal level movement. Same with the Ron Paul revolution. You've got a handful of people in government that are libertarian leaning. It didn't translate into a broader national platform. Now the Democrats are suffering from the same exact problem. So whenever you've got somebody who says something sane, like Fetterman, literally the dude who almost died of a massive stroke and had literal brain damage, although he seems to have recovered well, he is now effectively the most sane person in your political party. The rest of it is cluttered up with aging neocons that they basically are conservatives when you think about it. The neocon, neolib, they're the same thing. So neolib, neocon, whatever you want to label them, it's cluttered up with them. And it's cluttered up with a bunch of leftoids. Because the Democratic Party said, well, the youth is going further and further to the left. Let's wine and dine them. Oh, shit. Now the youth is actually moving in the other direction? Fuck, we made a big goddamn mistake. Mamdani is the intrinsic symbol of this mistake making by the Democratic Party. Mamdani will probably win the mayoral race in New York City. He will then drive New York City into the ground. He will fail. There's no question in my mind that his policies will be a failure. When you look at the list of policies, he's got two choices. Go ahead with them, and the policies suck and harm the city, and then you have to get more money from Albany, I suppose. Or you don't impose them and you end up a one-termer because all those leftoids that voted for you will vote you back out of office in favor of somebody who will actually deliver on their promises. Those are his choices. He's in a thankless position himself. Should he be elected, he can either be a failure or he can be a failure. That's basically what Mamdani is looking down. The Democrats, meanwhile, because of the high status of the mayor of the largest city in the United States, they're sweating nervously because Mamdani is going to make a fool of himself no matter what he does. And they realize this, and the more intelligent Democrats are like, oh shit, this is really going to be good for the midterms. It's really going to be really good for the 2028 election, too. That's what they're staring down the barrel of a gun almost on this particular issue because Mamdani cannot succeed. There is no methodology by which his projects can succeed if he implements them. And if he doesn't implement them, then he gets kicked back out. And the Democrats lose another mayoral position, possibly to a Republican in that particular case, because they would be so poor. The Democrats are fundamentally screwed if they continue fronting people like this. What they should do is they should reiterate a party platform that takes them away from the far left and says, no, we do not support communism and stuff like that. Now, actions speak louder than words. So the Democratic Party will still be supporting these issues, but they're going to have to at least, audibly tell people that they're not interested in communism and stuff like that. Instead of making excuses for critical race theory in schools or pretending that it doesn't exist, they should be disavowing it. Instead of supporting defund the police, then unsupporting it, then reiterating, well, we support it, but it just really means reform the police, they should have just come out from the get-go and said, no, we're not interested in that. This is a fringe platform. Because the American people have already spoken multiple times and showed the Democrats that they're not interested in the kind of things that they're peddling. That's because of this sort of shit with Mamdani and AOC and stuff. It's not because of some lay neoliberal or something like that. That doesn't outrage people anymore. That's old hat. Yeah, do I oppose their platforms? Absolutely. Do I oppose the far left even more to the point where I'll actually talk about it? Yeah. Yeah, it's fun to riff on Nancy Pelosi and say like, she couldn't get up when she was taking the knee for the BLM flag there that one time and then she couldn't get up on her own. And it's funny, it's amusing, it's hilarious, but it has nothing to do with politics. It's more just a show more than anything else. But the leftoids are becoming more and more pernicious. Now they're assassinating people. I would assume that at some point the Democratic Party, if it's intelligent, and that's going some for political parties in general, it doesn't matter which one or what country you're in, they tend to be fucking nuts. A sane party would disavow this kind of thing unilaterally, unequivocally, and then move on and simply to the leftoids, they would say, shut the fuck up, basically. The Democratic Party's not doing that. They're still supporting Mamdani. You've got Hochul stumping for him now. He'll win, and New York City will suffer one way or another. Sorry, New Yorkers. Your city is going to be in for some hard times, and there's nothing that those of us outside of New York can do about it. That's about all. Peace out.